Hello everyone, Lau here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another flea market video. Yeah, what should I say? That's what I do. I go out to flea markets, take the camera with me, try to film when I find something interesting, and then I bring it here and show it to you. So that day, all the stuff is from one day. I hope I get it through a little bit faster so I don't have to make 2 videos out of this one day. Let's see. And it actually also didn't go as planned that day. I had planned way more flea markets, but then for the first one I was very kind of slow because also the bank hadn't already opened, so I didn't have any money with me, so I couldn't go to it yet. And then I kind of missed the second one because it was already time for the third one. And then the trains in Berlin kind of stopped running because there was an important politician visiting Berlin, and they kind of stopped doing all the trains, so I couldn't get to all of the others that I had planned, or 2 at least. But in the end it was, I think, still 4 flea markets, but I think I have mainly footage from 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, let's start.
Flea market Rathaus Schöneberg, and the only toy thing I found after several rows was this box of, dolls. All Steffi love. I mean, at least 90s, I guess, maybe a little bit newer. So I am not picking up anything Steffi love, no matter if it's vintage, so to say, or not. Sometimes fashions, if they are okay, or if I just don't know. But I mean, there's always hope that there's something interesting in that. I mean, do you see there's lots of little pieces, there's lots of fashions, but I could already see a lot of it was also newer. Like this box, I was like, oh, is that super vintage? No, it's new. Also the dolls, and not really. And then the only, even separate heads. The only interesting piece that I was really that looks good. Nothing of that. It's one dress. I think I will pull it out there. There it is. And I immediately recognized it. And then I started putting together a small pile.
The very first thing this was a bag of Barbies. Well, Barbies. I don't think that there was any Barbie in there. I think all of them were Steffi love or anything else. So none of the dolls were interesting. But a couple of fashions were still interesting to me. The one that piqued my interest the most was this, and I immediately kind of recognized it because I have part of the rest of the outfit. This is a fashion pack from 1993 called Sparkle Pretty Fashions, and I always hoped to find this. It's a mint green top. It has this nice gold patterned skirt to it. And I do have, this is not from the flea market now, I found this at another flea market I don't know, 1.5 years ago, this little bolero jacket over it. That's why I always wanted to find the rest of the outfit. Now I do have it. I also took these golden shoes, which honestly I don't know if they are real Barbie or if any of the other doll lines kind of also copied this shoe mold, because this is the exact 90s PAM shoe mold, but I've never seen any that have this back metal, so this is really super shiny. Usually I know it more from Mattel that they have this golden plastic that's just looking golden. These are really back metalized. I don't know if they are Mattel or not. This definitely is Barbie. It has a Barbie tag, but I mean, that's also the only reason why I took it. It's not really super nice. It's early 2000s, I'm pretty sure, although it still has the 90s Barbie tag. These tags were used longer. It is also, you can tell from the way not zipper, what is it called? The Velcro is. It is the other type of Velcro that wasn't used in the 90s. It's not a bad dress. I just took it because I knew it was original Barbie, so I couldn't identify it yet. And this is actually quite funny. There was this whole outfit in there that matched this, and I have this whole outfit. This is not what I took now from the flea market. This is from my last flea market haul. It's definitely not Barbie, it's probably Steffi or Petra or something. But now I have the matching bag to it. I just took this bag because I recognized it from one of my last flea market hauls. So just a couple of small pieces. I just paid 50 cents for it. I'm fine.
Then the second and last vendor that had toys was this one with this huge pile of dolls. I looked through all of them before I started filming, and the only old one was this one Kira. And he had this transformer, question mark. Yeah, it's a transformer. It looks kind of vintage to me, and I'm not really knowledgeable in that field, but from the dolls I couldn't pick up any. Like this Kira had super cut hair and the rest was new.
Yeah, and honestly, not much else at that flea market. Yeah, this whole huge pile of Barbies with just one old Kira in there, but like super cut hair, no thanks. But I bought this. This is, believe it or not, it's my very first Transformer toy. I'm not really knowledgeable in case of Transformers. They not really speak to me, you know, they are obviously very, very famous toy line. But, you know, boy toys, and I'm not really here for, you know, planes and cars and all that stuff. But I always thought, like, when I find one that I kind of like from the look, and I know it's a real one, and I know it's an older one, I might just grab it to have like one representation in my collection of it. And that was the one. I recognized it obviously by the original Transformer stickers here, and then it also says, Hasbro 1992, and then also Takara. So 1992, well, I always like think of Transformers more like 80s, but I also knew that there were some European exclusives still in the early 90s, still belonging into the G1 line. So I thought, I have no idea if this is complete or whatever, I just take it. It was €4. He wanted 5 and I said, oh, can we get 3? And then it was 4. And yeah, well, it still goes into the G1. Yeah, you say G1 with Transformers as well as you say it with ponies, Generation 1. Although it is one that is like from the 90s. The name is Skyquake. That's the one, like earthquake, Skyquake. And you can see it is one that, this is the form, or this is not the robot form right now, this is the vehicle form. So it's like a jet, so it's not one of the good guys, it's one of the Decepticons. So it is actually a pretty big one. So from this line, it's definitely the biggest one. So it's the main antagonist of that line. And well, before I get a little bit into that, maybe I start by going a tiny bit into Transformers history because it's really interesting. And I will also transform this guy quickly after I explained a little bit, because, you know, transforming robots, I mean, you can, you know, do certain things here. Already when you have this, you can already see the head, etc. There's lots of stuff that you can like pull and turn, etc. So it makes up that it looks different. So it's a transforming robot. These were around in Japan since, I don't know, the 60s or something. But it wasn't until, you know, the 80s that there were like specific lines in Japan that they also tried at one point to kind of introduce into the European and US market, Diaclone and Microchange, but it wasn't really successful. I don't know, the children were like, I don't know how to work, I don't know, what are they characters or what, I don't know, they were not successful. But in 1982, someone from Hasbro was over in Japan for a toy fair. And he was very impressed by their, especially the ones from Takara, so the Microchange and Diaclone lines. And they bought the license to bring them over to the US and the European market. And what they did differently now is they kind of made it their own thing. They combined both lines. So both robots from both lines were brought into a line now called the Transformers. And they made up a whole backstory, they made comics, they made a TV, like an animated TV show, all very successful. And suddenly children also in the Western markets were interested because they had a backstory, they had characters to root for, they kind of knew how to play with them. And like this Transformers thing, a huge success story from Hasbro at that point, to the point that even also like in Japan at that point they kind of changed their name of those lines into the Transformers. By the way, Hasbro also bought other transforming robots, not just from Takara. A couple of the G1 line were also actually ones that were produced by Bandai. So it was a whole thing that Transformers combined all these different transforming robots from Japan and made it this one specific line. So they had a movie that was really successful in '86, for example. But like in the late '80s, so the kind of the success, like they couldn't like continue it all the time. So like in 1990, the line was like shut down in the US. But they had already like developed so many like new transforming robots and all the concepts that they kind of continued it over in Europe, where they were still going strong. And that's where this one comes from. So this is one that was not released in the US, just a European exclusive one, 1992. Kind of, that's why it still counts into the G1 line, because they kind of reintroduced Transformers back in 1993 with the G2 line. I don't know if at that point it was already called G2, but it was kind of the second generation, and this is a weird in-between. So kind of still G1, not yet G2, but a European exclusive. It is missing something. I know that now. I mean, it's missing all of the missiles. For example, I mean, let's get it back here. In this mode, it is, you know, the jet. And it would have actually, you have these barrels, you can spin them. And there you would actually have, you could put like missiles, so when you would have them this way, they would fall out. There is something in, but those are not the correct missiles, but I can kind of, bam, like this. These little things were in. I don't think that they belong to it, but you would have bigger green missiles that you could put in and they could fall out like bombs, you know. These are missing, but the more important thing that's actually missing is something that you would put on here at the back. It's a real big thing, and you can still see where it was attached here. It's broken. There's just a little bit, you know, of this brittle plastic still left, and it had a lot of this golden plastic, and I heard from Transformers people that this golden plastic, also like this color here, is even more brittle. So there's no wonder that it's broken off. This was actually the main play feature of this, apart from the transformation. You could look into it like a, you know, binocular, and you would see through it, and then at the bottom, so you could kind of see, you look behind this and then see what you bomb underneath, because there is like, I don't know, like a mirror in there, and you can look what's on the bottom. The cool thing is there were also pictures in there, and one of them you can still see. Can you see that one here? And there was another one. So this is this whole thing, and this kind of like play feature is now completely missing. But luckily nothing of the, you know, transformation is missing, because this was actually just, you know, the play feature. You would look through it, and then you could play, because it would look down, and you could also, when it's transformed into a robot, and you could also look through it and see like a binocular, something like that. Okay, let's see if I can transform him. Here's already his head. Let's go back. By the way, did you see that this one actually in this mode already has eyes and a mouth? It looks so cool. I love the colors. You can open this one. Then this was the most difficult thing to find out. Let's see if it works. Yep, you have to completely turn them. Haha. Then you can put the legs apart. Then the legs have their own little feet attachments, or not attachments, but you can... Now the last thing is the arms down. These become the arms. Zack. Ta-da! And then you can, I don't know, shift these the way you want. Maybe put them up or back. Something like this. And then we have our robot here, Skyquake. Now he has like, these things are difficult to get out, but you need them really to balance him so he can really nicely stand. And I mean this thing here, this is just a play feature. I like it more when it's this neon green, but you can shut this and then it's darker. And you know, you would have this big thing, it would look like attached to him like a kind of backpack. And you could look through him and would see this picture also, like, but yeah. It is pretty big. I'm very happy that I found him. I have no idea where to put him because like my little cabinets with my boy toys are actually kind of full. What I think is really interesting and what I would not have expected is that it seems they are not really sought after. I don't know, they're not really wanted. I was under the impression, well, when something is exclusive, like European exclusive ponies, for example, are pretty sought after. The people in the US want them. This one on eBay, the last one, more complete than mine, sold for €1.50. What? I mean, this one is also kind of offered for around €40 in this condition, and one that's complete, like completely complete, is also offered for 150 or whatever. All from Germany, strangely enough. There are no listings from anywhere else in Europe, only from Germany. But I can see if the last one sold for €1.50, not 150, no, €1.50. Then it can't be very like popular. Maybe the European Transformers aren't really like popular because, you know, that was already when they kind of ended the first. I mean, these are characters, I don't know if they were in any of the TV shows, maybe not, because after the movie they kind of killed Optimus Prime already. I don't know why they are not more thought after or like wanted or whatever. I'm happy with this one. It's a big one, it's a really cool colored one, so that's my Transformer here. Flea market was actually the main like thing why I went out that day and tried to find flea markets near that one, because there is an international school, or maybe even American school, the JF Kennedy School, which has like a primary school and a middle school attached to it for people like where the parents have to come over for Germany for work or whatever, and they had a flea market. And my friend Cotton Candy Kittens had already like told me before that that one is always worth it because they have stuff maybe from their parents still from the US or whatever. And it was a really nice flea market. And I found a couple of really cool things. But I mean, it wasn't that amazing as I would have hoped for. The very first thing that I found, actually, I don't know why I bought it. I haven't even like filmed it because it was the very first stand. I just like kneed down, looked at this, you know, it's something Japanese. And I just wanted to have a look, and the girl told me, oh, it's €1. Do you want to buy it? And I was like, yes, I buy it for €1. It's a coloring book from Japan. So, I mean, this is probably also due to maybe this family at one point, due to the parents working all over the world. They were maybe in Japan for a couple of years or whatever, and they had stuff like that. It's just a coloring book for small children. And at first I was like, okay, it's just super cute. I don't know what anime this is from. I was just drawn to all of these, like, I mean, it's very, very elaborate fashion stuff in there. I mean, look at that. I mean, I'm not really a big anime fan anymore, and I have no really anything like that I want to do it, but it already makes me want to color in those pictures. And then because I cannot read Japanese, I cannot read what that is, what that's called, or what that is. But somewhere in between there was something where, Aikatsu. It's from Aikatsu. It's an idol anime, and not just an anime. I think it started in 2012 with a arcade game that is based on card collecting, and then you have these idols and they're battling against each other and their song performances and their passions, etc. I mean, do you know what idols are? In Japan, this is like girl groups or single girls that become kind of famous, not really famous, but they're singing, they are doing dance routines for their fans. This is a real thing, they are real idols, and there's a whole fan base of idols. They're not the biggest pop stars, it's like their own little world, this idol thing. And there's obviously animes about it and games and whatsoever. Maybe you have heard of Love Live. I think that's the most successful or best known one. Aikatsu is a little bit more cutesy, it's a little bit more colorful, it's a little bit made for a younger demographic. I've at least informed myself a little bit. I think it's, in terms of the looks and the colors, it's a little bit more like Precure. But in the idol world, they are attending idol school, and there's several different series already since 2012, and this is from Aikatsu Stars, so the second kind of series where they introduce their new characters, etc. I don't know what I want to do with it. It's just so freaking cute, and it was €1, and I was like kind of overwhelmed with, hey, do you want to buy it? It's just €1, and I was like, yeah, I buy it. So there we go, Aikatsu coloring book from Japan.
So this box looked worth filming. At first I saw new adults, but then like 70s fashion? Interesting. This hat was like, wait, I know it. It's an older one. It's kind of Barbie. And I started rummaging through the fashion pieces, and I was like, I don't know. Some of them look really 70s, but then again, not Barbie. And then this, wait, I know it. It's very old. It has a zipper, so it must be like 60s. And I kind of knew what it was already. So I like, is there more interesting stuff? But most of the fashions were like, yilks. Even too big somehow for Barbie. And I didn't find anything else like fashion-wise that I wanted to pick up, because of after this like bathing suit, I was like hyped, but the rest was like not that convincing. I talked a little bit to like the vendors. They were really nice. They knew that a couple of the things were really old, but still they were not charging a lot, which was really, really nice. This is also very cute, a full like a set of dishware, but also in this. So it was kind of a weird mix of very new or like 2000s and then old.
Oh yeah. This box, like at first I only saw like newer Barbies. There was a Rapunzel Barbie, like a Rapunzel like Disney doll and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know. But I grabbed a little bit deeper and I found, I mean, there were probably other stuff from like other fashion pieces from the 70s, but they didn't look Barbie to me. They all looked like bigger, or I don't know. But at least I picked up two things. And one thing is pretty amazing. No, not her. I just put this already on a Barbie, so you can at least see how it would look. This bathing suit. So I come closer. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, I think this is pretty old. I have seen it. You can see it has like a real zipper in there. It looks familiar, isn't it? Isn't it from one of the Barbies, you know, the ones that have wigs instead of hair? Yeah. So this is the original bathing suit from the 1963 Fashion Queen Barbie. So this is now officially my oldest piece of Barbie anything that I own. This is from 1963. She also would have come with just a turban or something that's in the same fabric. By the way, this is a really sturdy fabric, real metal trims in there, not trims, metal threads in there, and it has a real YKK zipper. So the Barbie, as I said, she would actually not have any hair, just a little bit of molded hair like Ken. And then she would come with wigs. That was their main thing. So obviously I've put it now on one of my 90s dolls here because I still had her out, this Kira. And I like gave her the type of shoes that this doll would also come with, and I added something golden at her top. Not a turban, but to just give her a little bit of the look. But this is actually, you know, 1963, still one of the Barbies with a very early face. Not the typical early face, because it has a different face mold because of the sculpted hair. So it is an original face mold called the Fashion Queen Barbie, but still with the super hooded eyes, the side glance. Not a lot of articulation. I'm not sure if she had already bend and snap legs. She might have, but maybe not. I'm not sure. But like, you know, 58 was the first Barbie. That was just 4 years after. So I think that was like a very good find. I'm a little bit scared to put this on. Let's do it like this. It kind of works. But the other thing that I found there was also pretty amazing. And yeah, you saw it. I actually just picked up a hat. I have since now put it on a doll, because what do I want to do with just the hat? And I had a couple of Barbie bodies laying around. This is actually also very, very interesting. So look at that face. Unless you are really, really like into all of the different lines from Mattel over the years and Barbie types of head molds, etc., you're probably not really familiar with this hat. That hat belongs to Star with double R, so her character name is Star, from the 1980 doll line Springfield High. You can still kind of put it into the Barbie type of dolls from Mattel, but it was a line that was like completely without Barbie, so it was not introduced into the Barbie canon. None of these characters were Barbie's friends, or Barbie was not seen in that line. She was the main character. They kind of wanted to make like more of a teenage line with, you know, high school. They just had this one wave, so it seemed it was not really like popular. She was the main character. There was one boy called Sean. I think she had one or two friends, Kelly, one of them, which this Kelly, she had the more popular face mold that was reused later on for the Hart family mom, and also for Jazzy, Barbie's cousin. But this face mold here from the main character from Star was never used again. The only face mold ever used is this one. She still has her original curls. I have also not really like changed it. I have washed the hair, but I have just left the factory curls in it. I'm not bothering with, you know, brushing through it. It will never be as good. This is also her original hair ribbon, so I've let that also in there. And yeah, the thing is, when I put it on this body, because this is just a normal like, late 90s Barbie body, I thought like, oh, the head looks kind of small on this body, doesn't it? I mean, now I have kind of acclimated. What do I want to say? I have kind of accepted how it looks, and I will leave it on that body because I don't have another one. But actually, these dolls also had a different body type, which I didn't know. I just, when I saw it at the flea market, it was like, I'm kind of familiar with this face. Isn't this the Jazzy face? No, it's not the Jazzy face, but it's like from like the same line, the Star face. And I didn't know that they had different bodies. They actually got, for this one line that was not really successful, a smaller, so more like, you could say maybe similar to a petite body nowadays, kind of a teenage body. The whole proportions were a little bit different, the breast was smaller, and they had way more articulation. I think they still had bend and snap knees, but they had kind of in their waist kind of a ball joint, similar to the you know, gymnast Barbies in the 90s. So they could really, like, in their waist really move way more than the normal, like, you know, the normal side to side thing. And their like wrists were articulated. I think their elbows as well, but I'm not exactly sure because mostly they have fashions on when I see pictures. But I think they also had a different way of the of the head of the shoulder, which also looked way more like a ball joint or something, way more round. So they had a different upper body and also I think a lower body. They had flat feet. So I don't know, maybe this body was very brittle because this doll, obviously the body was not in the box. I just got the head. I could see that maybe the body was not well constructed, so only the head survived. I have, as I said, put it now on this normal, like 90s, late 90s Barbie body with straight arms, but the ones that can already get out. So I think this is from a Beat Blast Barbie, the body. And I have put her on an outfit that kind of resembles what she looked like in the box. There were also fashions for this Springfield High line. By the way, she has the marking of 1997 at her back, 1979 at her back. So she was kind of constructed and made in 79, but the line was released in 1980. Yeah, they also had fashions, but like, I don't know, they just lasted this one wave, that was it. She came actually with a silver, like a super short jumpsuit or play suit, or like dungarees or whatever you want to say it looked like here. It had like, it was like a one piece. And then she had something like red, like a jacket, or also underneath maybe a red t-shirt. I cannot really tell because there's not a lot of pictures online where I can clearly see what she's wearing. And as she had like flat feet, she probably was released with some kind of trainers. And I put together this outfit, which I think it kind of captures her vibe a lot. This is kind of like, none of these pieces really go to her, but this is from far away and from the vibe, what she looks like, really what this doll, like the essence of this doll line. A teenage high school girl and her friends in the late 70s / early 80s. I think she's really cute, and although I only have actually originally now her head, she's pretty special to me. She is like, I'm really proud that I found her in this box of mainly new Barbies. So I consider this a really, really good find. Star from 1980s Springfield High. Here's a whole bunch of sheep for My Little Pony. Most of them are not in that good condition, but I picked out like this Fluttershy because of these wings. I mean, she's still missing all of the charms and just a little blind back. And I was really tempted because I don't have these. These are the light up ones, but I know how awful they are to restore, because you cannot really go use them like underwater, because then they, like, the water gets everywhere, but the hair is like really bad. I also like this one because of this type of tinsel, but I mean, mane is cut. And then a whole bunch of reboots, like all of the reboot style, which, by the way, this is just, at first I was, what pony is this? It has just, the hair is just glued on. Interesting is also that this thing is Rarity's Boutique, which you can use it with these like snap-on fashions. You put it in there, you like a pony like pushes down that side, and then it has this thing on. I have no use for it, but I know that this is My Little Pony. It's also from like 2017, 18, definitely reboot style. You can only use it with ponies in like this pose, without wings obviously, but I'm happy with these. I think I can restore her hair. She's still original body and she has her wings. No charms, but like, I'm happy. Okay, let's get to something new. Yeah, G4 My Little Pony. These children, they had quite a lot of G4 ponies, but most of them were like reboots, and they were just in really bad condition, had cut hair, etc. So there was only one that I wanted to pick up. This is this Fluttershy here, and also I picked up this little blind bag pony because I was not sure if I do have it. I think I do have it once I found out the name. It's Rainbow Wishes. I think I do have this one also, but I don't know. They wanted just 50 cents per pony, no matter if it was a blind bag one or if it was a brushable one. I took this Fluttershy. She's still on the, you know, original G4 My Little Pony body, not the reboot. Still her hair, like her tail, is not really super good, and also her mane, they played with it a lot. They definitely played with their ponies a lot. So that's why, but I mean, it was still salvageable. This is the Charm Wings Fluttershy from 2014. You see all of these little things here. This is where you could attach a couple of charms. So there were charms obviously coming with her. And if you purchased other ponies or other like play sets, things from that era, there were always a couple of charms in there, and then you could, you know, hang them. But they were not really stuck on there. You would just hang them. They would dangle. So no wonder that none of the charms kind of survived. Also, these wings, actually, this is original. They had these little bit of, you know, pink glitter parts, but this is also almost gone, so there would have been more glitter around the wings. So I guess these ponies were really played with. You can like take the wings off. It's just this little peg. There's an opening, and then you can put it in. And probably when I display this Fluttershy, I have to take off the wings. Let's see. And here's the little blind bag pony. So. Yeah, and I continued with a couple of little pony things. There was this super small box with lots of minifigures. I think a lot of them were Hatchimal minifigures, but a couple of them I could identify as belonging actually to My Little Pony. There were two of the magazine figures, actually two that I have already, and this one. So for the G4 Friendship is Magic line, there was, especially in Europe, a My Little Pony magazine, or also with comics, etc. And they often had like specific, like, you know, small magazine figures in there. And this is one that I'm actually pretty like happy with, because it is a character that almost got no real like toy representation. I think there is one really rare and hard to find brushable of this character. This is Silverstream, one of the Student 6 characters from the second, so from the two last My Little Pony seasons, so from season 8 and 9. She is, and the brushable one is in her hippogriff form, and this is her sea pony form. I think in the sea pony form you just have one of the super small Cutie Mark crew figures, and this. So Silverstream from the student characters from the Friendship School, and yeah, nice. And then these two, which do even go to brushable ponies. So the brushable My Little Ponies from the 4th generation, Friendship is Magic, etc. You know, the first waves had, most of the ponies had little sidekicks, little animal sidekicks. This owl, I think it goes to this rarity. So this is one of my rarities. No tinsel hair. no specifics, but still like the smaller head mold. So this might be a wave 1 rarity, and the wave 1 rarity came with this little owl figurine. A couple of other accessories as well, but this is really great. I don't have this. If I'm able to complete a couple of my ponies a little bit, that's always good. Then this mouse is a little bit more strange because as far as I could find out, this came with a like Canterlot kind of carrying case play set thingy. Cardboard, looked like Canterlot Castle, but you know, it more like a carrying case, and with lots of accessories, which was a Target exclusive. So there was no other mouse, I think, in pink. I could be wrong, maybe from one of the advent calendars or something, but that's what I found out. And it is possible because, as I said, it was, oops, international school. These children might have lived still in the US around that time, so in the like mid 2010s. So maybe this is really from that set. It is possible.
Oh, a box for free with stuff in it? Yeah, definitely worth looking. I immediately found these elves and then took out the camera and I was like, oh, maybe there's more. There was a pony, but no. Well, it's obviously just a fakie. But I was like really lucky that I pulled the elves out of this box. And I mean, free. They were free. You could just take them. Nothing else for me in that box. But obviously they had more, so this vendor did not just have a box of free little things. So there you can see them. There are two that I don't have. There is this rainbow dash backpack, I think, but I'm not here for G4 plush thingies, even though it's a backpack. And then I saw there's more G4 stuff. Yes, so we have got a little bit of playset things and a whole bag of G4 ponies. Obviously, yeah, all of the main 6 characters, but also a lot of accessories. There's the train, so I was like, do I need them? But some of them look good. I mean, especially like condition-wise, they looked really good. So I was like, really, do I need another like Twilight and another Twilight and another Applejack, etc.? Then I was like, what's that? But I think this was not pink originally. It looked really like someone painted it, but I have no clue what this horse was. Maybe Briar? No, probably not. Yeah. So, but I at first like walked another round to think about the My Little Pony things and just took the elves. But after one round, I returned to them and bought the G4 pony stuff.
Oh, yeah. And then these mini elves here. They were in the box that said they are free. So I was rummaging through that box and I just took them because I really liked Zelfs. It is a newer toy line from the mid 2010s. So they are around from 2013, 14, around that time. They have 3 different sizes. The bigger ones, the mid-sized ones, and these are the minis. They were kind of a little bit like blind bags. Sometimes you could just see the hair color and you could guess which ones these are. There were also, I think, 3 different waves of these. And obviously they are inspired by the old trolls, but I like them more because I think they are cuter. They have like a little bit of an alien-esque, a little bit of a, you know, elf or like fairy like look to them, and don't have these kind of, you know, ugly troll faces. This one, super cool because it has different hair colors, also the short hair and the long hair in them. This one's called Petal, it's from 2014, and this one is kind of inspired by the monster of Loch Ness. Well, the mini ones are never really as detailed as the bigger ones from them, so this one actually would have also like pink hair in the middle, and you know, if you look at these details, if you had the bigger figure of this one, this would be way more detailed. This one is inspired by the Loch Ness monster, and this is called Loch Lan, and also 2000. Oh, by the way, this is 2014. This is 2013-14. By Moose Toys. But then I saw that this vendor also had a bunch of G4 My Little Ponies, so it was kind of a good day for G4 My Little Pony stuff. Not the most exciting, like I don't know, rare G4 characters or something, but a nice array, and I picked up all that was there because it was a bundle deal. They wanted 12 euro for the whole bag and of ponies and the train, and I got it down to 10 euro. So I mean, that's a good price. There's a couple of accessories in, that's what drew me to it, because most of the ponies I kind of do have, but yeah, let's start with this train set. Okay, now I have like cannot even see it. This train set is from 2016. It's from 2016. It's called the Explore Equestria Friendship Express. So it's not the first train that was released. There was that one first train that also had like really a battery compartment, and it had the train rails, and you could build it so it could really move around, I think with Pinkie Pie in it or whatever. This is not the one, but this is still a super nice representation of the train from Friendship is Magic, because it is something that they do use to travel. In the show, they don't have cars, they don't go by plane. It's all, that's what I really like about this. They don't have like a lot of technology. Well, they have magic, and they have a couple of, you know, old tiny like things, like, you know, they're writing letters and stuff like that, and they go, when they travel, they go by train. And this is always the first part of the train, and then these two cards are always the last part. And you could collect more of the train parts in between, because a couple of the train pieces came with other ponies packed in, etc. So if you would have more ponies collected throughout the line, you would have more of these train parts, and you could really kind of build it, because you can attach it, and it is on wheels. So it seemed to be like a really like children thing, you know, very for small children, you know, a train. But it's in the show, it's kind of show accurate. You can always like open up these tops. They have things that open. It's really nice molds. The plastic is really nice quality. The colors are like show accurate. So actually it's a really nice thing, and this one came with lots of different accessories and the matching pony to it. So this is also what drew me to it. It had a very nice Twilight Sparkle in it that is really like also very show accurate, a very light purple. Very often, like especially in the beginning of the line, Twilight Sparkle, which is the main character, in toy form was like shown as a pretty pink, dark magenta or something like that. For example, here is another Twilight in that array of ponies, and I guess you can tell the difference. This is way more show accurate because it's actually purple. This one is almost pink and it's pretty dark. So I like that. Here we have a little accessory. By the way, this is the Cutie Mark, also Explore Equestria, a single pony, one from the hair bow single. So this is the correct accessory that goes to her. So she is complete, which is also nice. This is from 2015. And she's from 2016 with the train set. And there were lots of more accessories. For example, little, you know, bags, and this hat that you could put on the pony, and another bag, and lots of like small accessories that I don't know if they all go to it. For example, just a cardboard cutout of tickets, but I guess they are train tickets. We have like sunglasses, and then a couple of like flower hair clips that I cannot identify if they are My Little Pony or not. And this little bow here is G4 My Little Pony, but I think it actually came with other sets, or in this set actually with other colors. So I don't know. And these, I don't know if they belong to G4 My Little Pony. They might not, but it's overall like a lot of small accessories that I think most of them go to the train set. Oops. And for example, one of the other accessories went to this. So it is like a complete pony, which is nice, with especially with G4. It's even more difficult to get like complete ponies with complete accessories and all of that stuff. This card has a little pack, so you can really put the pony on, because all of the ponies actually have these little holes in their hooves. So I'm not trying to like collect all of the, you know, G4 Friendship is Magic things, but if I get them cheap, like especially also play sets, etc. at flea markets, I'm not gonna leave them. I'm not gonna display them, but I have the feeling that in a couple of years this will be something that children or people that were children during that time will be nostalgic for and will try to hunt down. And I mean, if I have them and at one point I'm willing to like get rid of them, I mean, they might be kind of like, people might be searching for that stuff. Not gonna say that they will be highly collectible, but maybe. And there was actually also one other pony in that, I mean, yeah, it could go to them concerning the size, but it's actually a G3.5, so one of the earlier generations. And I actually do have this. This is again the Sweetie Belle with the twice as fancy cutie marks on them. She is from 2009 or 10, but I guess she's from 2009 still, so yeah. Then there is a really nice Fluttershy in this array, because I think it's also a wave 1 Fluttershy. She has still these super droopy eyes. She has a small face, so it's the slender one. That is a different like material from the body. You can see it starts also to kind of switch colors, so the body is a slightly different color to the head. This is what happens to a lot of the early figures from the G4 line, but her hair quality is like, even the tail is still nylon. It is so good. I just had to brush through it and wash it once, and this is what it came out. I mean, this is quality in terms of hair. All of the others already have a polypropylene tail, so I was still able to get them pretty nice, and they're not horrible, but this Fluttershy, hair quality wise, is the best one. I do have this Pinkie Pie actually. I really like the series. They also have like their cutie marks all over the body, although they're not called twice as fancy. She is a Cutie Mark Magic single Pinkie Pie, so she was just released as a single. But mine that I have has awful hair and does not have this, you know, necklace. She comes with a necklace and the charm. You can see here's one of the charms. She's from 2014, same as the Fluttershy that I explained to you with all of the charms. So, and also this hair went really nice. So I'm happy about this. And one that was also really intriguing to me, because I'd never seen it, is this Applejack with a ribbon in her hair. And it's not just a ribbon to, you know, tie a ribbon. It's really rooted. The ribbon is rooted into her head. I'd never seen that. I just knew that there was a nurse red heart with this ribbon, but there was apparently a whole pony line, also from the Cutie Mark Magic line, so same year or same kind of line as her as well. But like 1 year later, they released single ponies that all had these ribbons in their hair. So the Cutie Mark Magic, Magic Hair, Magic Ribbon Hair singles, and Applejack 2015. So a lot of ponies, none of them like extremely special, none of them were like characters that I didn't have or something, but I mean, really nice, a lot of accessories, and a couple of kind of ones that I can exchange in my collection, because this one has the accessory also, better quality.
dem hinteren Hof. Ja, auf dem hinteren Hof.
I wish I would have found them. Oh my god.
Ja.
Rainbow Bride. Original old Rainbow Bride
Ja, warte mal, ich
figure.
halt gerade das.
This would be. You can put it down.
So, ich habe meinen Arm oben.
If you're asking yourself like why I'm not buying them, they are already bought. Cotton Candy Kittens bought them. Yep, 1 second too late. Okay. Like I was already walking past by it and I was like, no, I actually don't need it. It's a Barbie book. It's from 98, so it has also still some stuff of the Superstar era in it, but mostly collector and like vintage. But it's not in German and it's also not in English. It's in Polish and I cannot read it. So I was like, nah, no, I don't need it. I cannot even read what's in there. But like the pictures are pretty stunning. So like I think it's worth it already for the pictures. So that's cool.
Well, I was like really like at least walking past this Barbie book a couple of times. I had a look in it already previously and then I put it back because I was really like, do I need a book in a language I cannot understand? But then in the end she said, well, it's just €2, and I was like, okay, that's already like worth just the pictures, and I cannot read anything. This book is, I mean, you can guess it. It has the 90s Barbie font. Yeah, it's from the late 90s. It was released in 1998, and I mean, it's a book about like the history of Barbie, obviously, not a book with a story about Barbie or something. And as a lot of the like books from that time, they focus mainly on, you know, the early collecting years, so the 60s and maybe 70s, but not a lot of 70s in here, so it's mainly 60s, and then like collector dolls from the 90s. The like front already shows the Marilyn Monroe Barbie, a collector doll from the 90s. Interesting, the side here is totally bleached, so this must have been somewhere in a bookshelf and the sun kept hitting it all the time. The back is still pretty pink, you can see. It kind of reminds me of Hollywood hair with these stars here, the pink. Underneath the whole book is super pink, so I could also, like if I wanted to put it somewhere, I could also display it with this side here, would look better than this side. Let's have a quick look, because there are a couple of interesting pages, especially in the beginning. For example, how like here are the molds for, this is still the Superstar face, the body molds, how a face can be painted. There are different like skin colors. There's a little bit of production, like things that, for example, look at all of these different faces and head molds. This is interesting. Oops, I wish I could read it. And then there's lots of, you know, fashions from the early days, late 50s and early 60s, stuff like that. You can see it here. So this is amazing, and I love to look at all of the stuff. Some of the, you know, pictures have, you know, English headlines when they say what it is. Miss Barbie, da da da. So I can read a tiny bit, but the whole language, I mean, she said, the woman that sold me this book said it's Polish, but is it really Polish? I mean, I don't know. To me, it looks more like if it's kind of one of the, like, I don't know, Norwegian or Swedish or Finnish or something like that. Maybe it is Polish. I just, I could have researched before. Yeah, but a big part also of this book, and this is not that interesting to me, is all of the collector dolls from the 90s, which honestly nowadays they aren't even that collectible, because the Playline dolls from that era are way more collectible nowadays. But I mean, it's nice to look at. Here are a couple of Bob Mackie dolls from the early to mid late 90s. And interesting, sometimes also it's kind of compared to real like people from that era and how the fashion then translated into it, you know. So I'm happy that I picked this book up. I already like looked through all of it. I cannot read it. I will probably not look too often into this book, but I mean, yeah, I could in the end not leave it for €2. And that was actually when I went, like when I left this flea market, the JFK school children's flea market, and wanted to go to at least 2 or 3 more like flea markets, like somewhere in Berlin that I usually don't get to go to because they are too far, and I was already pretty far in Berlin, like pretty like in the middle or even in the western part, like northwest. But then the trains were not running and it took me forever to get home, or at least to get in my direction at least. That at one point I had to like change a train at Ostbahnhof, and it was already like, I don't know, quarter or I don't know, half past 2 in the afternoon. But a couple of vendors were still at Ostbahnhof at the flea market there. And I mean, I didn't film it, but I picked up this cute Care Bears book. It's just one of the small, you know, children's books, very, very flat, more like a, actually I would say it's more like a heft, so it's more like a magazine size. It's from 1987. It has the original Care Bears artwork in it. Something that's not that nice is that most of the pages are colored in by children, like you can see. This is, but it was just €1, and I mean, it is still super cute. And I don't have any of this type of merchandise for the Care Bears. I mean, this is not colored in. This is a nice page. So, Im Land der weichen Wattewolken. I think there were 4 different ones at this point for Care Bears. This is obviously all in German. And it's just very cute. And I'm happy to have it. I mean, at least it was worth going to the flea market at Ostbahnhof. And then I went to my local flea market, because it is when I get out of the train, it is immediately there. It was already very late. Most people already started to pack up. I mean, because I lost like hours and hours because of the train issues, I couldn't get home. I think I filmed even something, yeah.
This is one of the vendors at my local flea market that is always there, and she always has a couple of toys. And immediately on top of there, on the knickknacks, I saw this Star Wars figure, some kind of trooper, so I immediately put it aside because I don't have it. And then I obviously like was digging through the box, and that looked like something vintage, like this little pencil case. So it's always worth looking through her stuff, because she brings like different stuff to the flea market every weekend. So I had like luck with fashion pieces from Barbie at her booth like half a year ago. So like I always look through the stuff, and yeah, so this is, I think, nothing. I was hoping it might have an interesting like stamp at the bottom, 80s or something. No, mostly just like knickknacks and cheap stuff. But if I find a Star Wars figure in between, then that's fine.
Because I did pick up this little pencil case and this Star Wars figure. Yeah, it is an original Star Wars figure, not the vintage. It's from 2007, but it's actually kind of interesting because it's one from the series where they kept making concept designs into like real figures. You know, when movie is planned, and there's also lots and lots of concept designs, and they never are like really what they will look in the movie, because a lot of different artists make concepts for all these different things, and then in the end it still obviously looks a little bit different. But a couple of concept designs are that famous and that they are still used, and here they made action figures out of the concept designs. So this is a concept snow trooper. It's missing one of the big main things, like a big visor here, and it's also missing kind of a backpack thing that goes over here like a vest, and obviously a weapon. But I mean, it's cool. I paid like €2.50 for the two things. Oh no, €2 I was able to get her down. So I mean, for having this trouble getting home, and then it was super late, I mean, at least I found something. I mean, it's an interesting one. It's from the 30th anniversary collection, so it's not exactly vintage, but it's still also not very new. 2007 concept snow trooper. And then this, I just picked it up because it's just, you know, colorful and cute, and it said 1992. So I tried to research a little bit, and this Bonnie and Bernie actually is kind of a line of stationery items. So this company, this CWSF, made lots of these kind of, you know, knockoff type of, you know, Sanrio characters. So they all look, they're kind of same cutesy designs as, you know, Sanrio would have. For example, they had this Bonnie and Bernie, or before that they had Bonnie Bear. On the 80s, 84, I saw lots of stationery items. Other lines as well, if you just search for this CWSF, pencil sets, lunch boxes, scissors, pencil cases, etc. But like 92, that's probably one of the last like years, because after that I don't find anything. It's just a little, you know, pink pencil case. I might put in some of my makeup pencils or something like that, because, or even I start putting, I don't know, Barbie shoes or whatever. I sometimes come up with ideas what I put in them, and then I'm really happy that I have it. So I was really not mad that I found this. And the very last thing I picked up, I don't have it on camera. It is really, really big. I think I will film it separately for you. But it is a G4 My Little Pony, super, super soft set of, you know, bed sheets, what is it called? Bedding. You know, here we have the pillow. Oh, the other way around. One side we've got Fluttershy, and the other side we've got Pinkie Pie. It's really cute designs. I think it's from the movie. So the way, like in 2017, the way the movie was made, kind of looks like this. And here on this big one, there's Spike and Twilight. Can I find her somewhere? Yes, Spike. You can see Spike, and there's somewhere Twilight. There she is. I got this for €2. These, you know, this because they said, oh, we actually wanted to like already, you know, pack up, and originally we wanted 5, because I was like, I don't want to pay a lot for that. And said, well, €2, you can have it. Yay! It's the correct size. It's not a like smaller children's size or anything. I will use it. It's not that I bought this for, you know, display purposes or anything. I will definitely use it. I mean, it's not a vintage one. It's just a G4 one, and it is super, super soft. Probably better for winter, but let's see. I think this was still worth it going to that flea market, although it was already super late. And I hope you enjoyed seeing some of these things, because, you know, lots of it was just G4 My Little Pony, which I'm happy about, but I know you are more here for the vintage stuff. But you know, my first Transformer, my oldest Barbie piece, a head of a head mold, like a Barbie head mold that I've never seen, couple of fashions, couple of, you know, book thingies. So for this one day that actually kind of turned out completely different than I thought it would because of the train issues, it was a good haul. I'm like really happy with it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, as always, if you want to like support my channel, click the subscribe button and give it also a like if you did like it, in fact. And if the comments are open, then tell me anything you want in the comments down below. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. See you real soon, and may the toys be with you. Bye!